There was a time when the Aden stopped echoing across the savannas of Nigeria, when the drums of the Hausa markets beat louder than the voices of the Muad'Dins, when the British flag rose high above the land of the Sokoto Caliphate and Islam was declared a threat to the new rulers. Mosques were closed, courts of Sharia dismantled, scholars chained, manuscripts burned, and for the first time in generations, silence fell on a Muslim land. But within that silence, a people whispered, and a flame refused to die. The colonizers came with rifles and pens. They wrote laws to erase the courts of Islam. They demolished minarets and left mud where once domes had risen. They laughed at the thought that Islam, a faith carried by desert traders, Fulani herders and Hausa kings, could survive their empire. But they did not understand Islam does not live in walls and buildings. It lives in hearts, and hearts cannot be conquered. It began with a whisper. Families gathered after dusk. Fathers would take their sons behind clay walls, striking a lantern low so its flame could not be seen outside. And in those shadows they recited Qur'an, not aloud, not in chorus, but each child repeating in a hush so soft that even the wind could not carry the sound. Mothers taught wudu in secret, bringing children to the river under the guise of bathing. Scholars buried Qur'an manuscripts in clay jars hidden beneath their huts. Friday prayers were disguised as weddings, funerals, or market meetings, gatherings no soldier would suspect. The Adhan was never called with voice. It was called with the setting sun, with the turning of the shadows. When the men returned from the fields, they knew it was time to pray. No one needed a muaddin. Allah had become their caller. Imagine, my brothers and sisters, a child of 7, never once hearing the Adhan in his life, never entering a masjid, never seeing rows upon rows of believers standing shoulder to shoulder, and yet he memorizes Qur'an by the lantern glow. He whispers verses into the night, repeating them after his father, after his mother, over and over, until the words settle in his chest. These were the children of whispers. And, subhanallah, when the 7 years ended, not one of them had forgotten. Not one had abandoned Islam. Every single heart still carried the kalima. The colonizers thought they had won, but empire does not last forever. The world shifted, their power weakened, their eyes turned to other land. And so restrictions eased. And then one day, after 7 long years, a man climbed atop a mud wall. He lifted his hands to his mouth, and for the first time in nearly a decade, he called, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. The sound shook the valley. People wept. Some fell to the ground in sujood. Others clutched their children to their chest, whispering, Do you hear, my son? That is the call of your people. That is the call of your God.
History books will tell you about empires.
They will tell you about the Sokoto Caliphate, about the British conquest. But they will not tell you about the children who learned Qur'an in whispers, or the mothers who disguised their fasting as hunger from poverty, or the fathers who hid Qur'ans in jars of grain, so soldiers would never find them. This is the real history, that when Islam is forbidden, it survives. When the Qur'an is hidden, it shines brighter. When the Adhan is silenced, it still beats in the hearts of the believers. 7 years without a masjid. 7 years without a loud Aden. 7 years of secrecy, and yet not one soul abandoned Islam. This, ya Ikhwan, is the power of deen. So what do we learn? That Islam is not in the walls. It is not in the minarets. It is in the heart. The colonizers thought they erased Islam, but when they left, Islam remained. The Qur'an remained. The Adhan returned. And today, Nigeria stands as one of the largest Muslim nations on earth.